Hey, welcome back to the channel, Black History on Twos or Black History on Two Wheels. However you found us, glad that you're here. This is Mark T, also known as Juggernaut of the '06 Riders MC. This is a great day. Yesterday, I had a chance to spend some time with the 1838 Black Metropolis project. Morgan Lloyd and Michiko Quinoes, man, they walked me through my own neighborhood. I'm telling you, just blew my mind with the history that I thought I knew. And you are not going to want to miss this. It's a short video, and but once you watch it and you view it, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe to the channel, and then share it with somebody else as well. There's much more content coming from that conversation yesterday. Things like Benazet Abolition Hall, can't get to it, but the one on today talks about Black women who led on the Underground Railroad in Philadelphia, helping enslaved people make it to freedom. One of them was an undertaker, and you can probably use your imagination to think about what she did with the coffins that she owned. So listen, stay tuned for it. Now, today I'm not riding. I rode there to meet them yesterday, but I wanted to bring this out just so you understand. I'm not just a Harley guy. I ride every kind of motorcycle, own multiple bikes. Picked this up last week. If you know anybody looking for a starter cruiser just to kind of get in on a budget, I'll let this go for $4,500 because I got a great deal on it. I'll leave my contact info in the chat where you can reach me. And this is a 2011 Victory cross country with 33,000 miles. And yeah, it's got a bunch of, I don't know, just little small things that are annoying. That's why the price is budgeted so low. You're going to need your fork seals done. And then just again, like the mirrors and other little chrome pieces that just really due to neglect. I can't stand that. You drive by people's houses, you see their bike sitting out in the rain. You just want to go buy a bike cover and throw it over it. Man, it's like abusing a child or something. I know some of you don't ride, probably think I'm taking the metaphor too far, but I'm telling you as a rider, people are feeling me right now. But anyway, the bike runs, is great, mechanical condition. I'm gonna enjoy it. It's a beautiful day in Philly. It's supposed to get up to 80. I got some get out the vote work to do. And speaking of getting out the vote, the reason I'm doing these videos over the next couple of weeks that are focused on the Underground Railroad in particular is because I want to remind people of the importance of voting. The people whose shoulders we stand on. If you're African American in this country, we stand on shoulders of people who fought for us, who did not have the right to vote. The least that we can do is make it to the polling place on November 5th or before, cast our vote, and honor their memory. All right. So shout out to the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Melanie Campbell, and to Jackie DuPont Walker of the AME Church's Voter Alert program, who both wanted to make sure that this kind of content is possible and who are supporting this effort over the next couple of weeks. By the way, going to be riding to some other places. I'll talk to you about that on the other side of the video. So let's get to it.
So we've got some Underground Railroad stories for you here.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want to go?
Yeah. So one of the things that 1838 is really well known for is, of course, us digging into the archives and giving the ancestors their agency and bringing them back to life, so to say. And so it doesn't just live in the 1838 census, it doesn't just live in the Register of Trades, but also we follow our ancestors 60 years before, 60 years after, genealogically. So William Still also gets in the mix. And also I'm a Jersey kid. So whenever I can talk about William, I do. And so while digging into William Still's Journal C, I came across an incredible story about a young woman who shipped herself in a box. Everyone always talks about Henry Box Brown, but when you go into Journal C and the Underground Railroad, you'll see that more women than men ship themselves in boxes. Women typically, especially if you think of like Henrietta Dutier, who's the first woman undertaker recognized in the nation, would use boxes, would use caskets as ways to travel people through the Underground Railroad. And so one of the amazing stories that I love very much, one, of course, the story of Lear Green, who was enslaved down in the South. And then she met this really handsome free boy from Philadelphia. And she found her way up here through a collaboration of his family and hers. But most notably, there's a woman who goes unnamed. And she had shipped herself into a box, landed in the house 1, 2 in.
That was Rachel Myers' house. And Rachel Myers was a known Underground Railroad agent and is mentioned, and the house number is actually mentioned in William Still's Underground Railroad.
And that woman who shipped herself was very pregnant.
Wow. So the box came, and then I got it wrong. So here's what happens sometimes when you're doing the historical research. You think you're right, and then you're like, nope, I was wrong. So I thought Henrietta Duterte was, so Rachel Myers got a woman named Mrs. Ash. They kicked the kids out. The box is sitting here. They pull it in the house. They're like, what are we going to, oh, I got a picture.
You do have a picture.
I have a picture. I started working on my pictures. All right, what are we going to do with this box? So this is Mrs. Ash and this is Rachel Myers. And they're like, oh, dang, I don't hear anything. What are they going to find?
These two women are inside. They open up the box, and the woman is completely comatose. So she was taken to a room where they could just see whether or not she would even wake up again. But beautifully, again, we call this the Black Metropolis for a number of reasons. One, because it was in fact just a Black metropolis. It helps us to establish also this is a community that existed before the 7th Ward system, but also in imagining it as a metropolis, it means that there's a lot of resources. It means there's a lot of community. So right on Pine Street's our doctor who came right on into this house to take care of this woman, who then eventually came up from her coma and gave birth to what would have been the first free person in her family's history since arriving.
The other thing is that we don't have her name.
He didn't put it down.
We don't know.
But we know it's Rachel Myers' house.
Right. So it was Rachel Myers' house. And then the other thing is we just discovered 420 was Sarah Ash's house, and she owned that home. There's an estate where she gave it to her children. So we want to think of this as also Black home ownership.
Yeah.
Right. These places that you're used to seeing all the time were owned by Black people. So this one right here, 420, was Sarah Ash, and she was known as a fearless layer of the dead. She would go and help into a home that maybe had just experienced cholera and go in there fearlessly and prepare the body.
Which also makes me think of the legacy of doulaing, which is deeply African, but also something that's continuing to exist.
Yeah.
Where, of course, you have birth doulas, but there's also death doulas. And she sounds like a perfect description.
Right. Like somebody who's taking someone, care of the body spiritually and also the family.
Yeah.
And so that would have been why Rachel Myers would have asked her.
She just had to walk next door and knock.
She just had to come right here.
All they had to do, she had one person walk next door and probably walk down the street to get the doctor.
It's amazing.
Pulled everybody in.
Yeah.
It's an easy commute. It takes 3 minutes to walk for both ends.
That's right.
Listen, did I disappoint? No, I'm telling you, that was powerful in just about 4 minutes. Again, I've got a ton of content from them, content from Michael Cord, attorney at law, the self-proclaimed angriest Black man in America, talking at the Slave Memorial at George Washington's house up on 6th and Market. Got a bunch of stuff I'm going to lay out the rest of this week. And if you want to go riding with me to some of these places, again, get at me at my email address right there in the comments. Shoot me an email and I'll let you know some of the rides we're planning, like Christiana. Want to go down there near Lancaster because that was the site of William Parker's defending other enslaved persons who had escaped on the Underground Railroad. Incredible story in 1851. One you are not going to believe at all. But I want to ride there. We're going to ride all around the country on these bikes. So I've got the EJI shirt on here today. Equal Justice Initiative. Shout out to Brian Stevenson and the incredible work of creating that somber remembrance of lynching with a lynching museum in Alabama. We're going to get down there and do that as well. But I want you all to come on out. Bring your motorcycles out. And if you don't ride, you can always meet us at these places. So I know that you are really enjoying that video. So if you want to get together and learn more or get your own tour from the 1838 Black Metropolis Project, you can reach out to those two women directly. Go to their website, 1838blackmetropolis.com, and reach out to them. And I'm telling you, they will be more than happy to give you a tour, Bring them in if you're a teacher to your classroom, since, you know, they're trying to ban Black history for some reason. I mean, who wouldn't want these stories told? Yeah, I mean, it may be hurtful to somebody's feelings to hear this story told, but this is an important story that we cannot sweep under the rug, nor can we forget any more than we can forget any of the other stories in American history that are crucially and equally as important. So thank you for tuning in. Again, hit the subscribe button and share this channel with other people. Deuces.